J&V Restaurant Supply has been your home for everything tailgating for the last 45 years. Stop into one of our 3 locations to pick up everything you will need to make your tailgate a winner. From bar gadgets to all the professional cooking tools you'll need to score big with your buddies, the public is always welcome. And to celebrate our 45th anniversary, J&V is offering drone delivery. Maybe we'll just use the truck. Go Cats!
Welcome, having a chance to get back to Bozeman and review that game. I think first thing, awfully proud of the guys for hanging in there together, finding ways at the end, all 3 phases to contribute to ultimately getting that opportunity to win that football game. I think we felt like there were stretches of football in that game that we played really well. A lot of really good plays, but overall, I don't think our play was great, and that's kind of how it looked on film. But you're gonna have nights like that or days like that, I should say, where you might be just a little off here and there, and ultimately, if you can find your way through that and get a win, that's the bottom line. But I know we have to play better moving forward, and that's what this opportunity this week against Cal Poly will provide. They're a team that hasn't won our conference yet this year, but they have played some people tough. They played Northern Arizona tough in particular. As I look at it, just comparing scores, and throwing out what's maybe happened to them the last couple of weeks. We got to go there and play on their field and expect their best shot, and that's what we got to prepare for this week, and that's what we're aiming to do. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Is there anything specific that kind of stood out on film from you?
Well, I think first off, we get off to a great start, and I think in games like that, when you're on the road against a team that you had been struggling, if you can take that momentum and then squeeze it out, that game can look a lot different. And we had opportunities up 2 and 3 scores to add to that lead, and it was offense, it was defense, it was just missing a few plays here and there on both sides. And credit to Northern Arizona for really hanging in there in that second quarter, and then they made some plays, and before you know it, we were down at halftime. So it's a lot more plays than just saying it was this or this. But there's a handful of pivotal plays in that game that we didn't make when we had an opportunity to open up. We get a lead in the second half, and we couldn't do anything more than just play back and forth, which at least we were able to answer them, for the most part offensively in the second half. And, by that time we'd given them enough fuel, so to speak, to certainly keep fighting. And they did just that.
That early onside kick, I was just curious what went into that decision.
Well, 2 things. Their alignment allowed for it. You might not believe me, but Blake hit that ball perfectly 10-20 times over the course of the week in practice. And if we were going to have an opportunity to really take the momentum, we wanted to do it. And I felt like we got up 2 scores. Our defense was playing real well. So worst case, you put them back on the field, which we did. They didn't give up a score that time, but it was an opportunity to continue to build upon the momentum. And it just he didn't hit it hard enough, and it didn't travel the yards necessary. It was there, and like I said, in practice over and over again, he was able to execute that, and it just didn't happen there.
And then speaking of Blake, he's big sky special teams player of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, probably outside of not executing that onside kick. I know he didn't hit his first kickoff very well. He obviously did a great job. He put the ball out of the end zone when we did get that short kicking from the 50. He had a perfect squib that we got them inside the 20, and then all those extra points and field goals he made. And I think stepping in there at the end and really not flinching at all in that moment. They call a couple timeouts. I think that just got him more focused in, and obviously he hit it, and you know, that's a big time opportunity for him, and he came through.
Speaking of that opening kickoff, how cool was it to see Coy make the first?
Yeah, and Coy had on both our kicks that we had to cover, he had tackles, and yeah, to have him out there, I knew it would give us a lift. Not only, I think, just his story being out there and what that means to our guys, but then he was going to make some plays too. And he, offensively, the only opportunity he really had was to throw that one pass on the reverse to Tommy. But, he was out there, on special teams, and he'll continue to contribute, I think, in a big way as we continue on the season.
And Rylan, how did you feel like his first game back was?
Well, I think there's a good example of making some plays and then not making some plays. And is that rust? Is that not having been out there in a live situation in quite some time? I think it's probably a little bit of that. I think he saw things well by and large. He was where he needed to be. Made some tackles, missed some tackles, and we're going to need Rylan to improve, and I think he certainly can.
How about Cole being back out there as well?
No, I think Cole did all right. To have 6 guys offensive linemen playing, I think has been fortunately our MO all season. Being able to roll those guards a little bit has been, I think, good on a couple of levels. I think they all deserve to play. I think it serves as a competitive piece for all 3 of them as well. And I think Cole did some really good things, and JT and Omar continue to as well.
Which one of your sayings is won't be beat? How impressed are you by your team's ability to live up to that saying? And where did you create or get that saying from?
I don't know. Last year, just trying to think of a way to encapsulate the way we want to go into a game. I think that was the biggest thing in thinking about it last year. So it's every bit as much about preparation as is how you play on Saturday. It's treating every game and every opportunity as one that we better do everything we can so we won't be beat. I think, and I know Ty talked a little bit about it. I think the can't be beat mentality is to say that you might not need to put all the work in because we can't be beat, and it's probably as simple as that. And the guys have, I think responded to it with our preparation, and then it's played out on a bunch of Saturdays this fall where we're just going to hang in there and believe in someone's going to make a play, I guess. And I think bigger than that, I think everybody's just got to be out there doing their job and understand it's about that. And I think we got a little bit off the rails there in that game with maybe a couple plays here and there where guys were trying to do too much. And that's not the nature of winning football. You need to have 11 guys out there doing their job, not trying to do too much. So, to have it play out where we're in these tight games and we continue to find a way to win. We go down in some games. We continue to find a way to scratch and claw and get our way back into it. I suppose is a good thing. I guess I'd rather not, give up a 17-point lead and all of a sudden find ourselves down at halftime. It's character building. If it's hardening us for something down the road, I don't know. But I do appreciate that our guys are fully bought into that mindset of, hey, every game is its own. Every opponent is going to give us their best shot. We need to prepare every week, and that's going to allow us to have the best outcome possible on Saturdays.
Did you create that saying yourself, or did you get that from one?
I came up with it, but I don't know. It wasn't nothing we used at Wyoming, but I don't know. It wasn't anything monumental when I first started talking about it, I guess.
Remember when you first said it?
It was early last year. It wasn't right away. And it's whether it was transitioning out of that first loss into the next game, it probably was that. I know we weren't talking much about it before Wyoming, but I think you don't set your schedule. We don't pick our opponents. We don't pick ultimately the conference and they choose how the rotation is going to work, all that stuff. So the point being is, each week, you can't ride this roller coaster, I guess. And I think bad teams do that. They get up for the really good opponents, and then they play down to the opponents that maybe aren't on paper as good. And that's really where it kind of started. It got my mind thinking that way with our non-conference last year, and continued to, I guess, call upon it.
Speaking of making plays, can you just walk me through that play? Tommy broken, rolling out to the right and finding Taco. Just what was the original play call, and just what your reaction was, just being on the sideline?
Well, the sequence there, first down, second down wasn't real good. He threw into traffic on first down, second down, really missed Robbie wide open on the sidelines, and ultimately had to throw it away, I believe. And then you're sitting there 3rd and 10 and not wanting to punt the ball away again, give them another shot. But the game's still tied, and we chose to call a pass play that had some options on it. He gets flushed. And we've worked really hard over the last several weeks on scramble drill, which is a reactionary, quarterback gets out of pocket, receivers, especially the receivers in front of him, so to the side that he's scrambling to, have to find a way to get open. And, that's unscripted. And that's what that play was from that point that Tommy gets loose. And, Taco did the right thing. He got on top of the defense. Fortunately, Tommy saw him, and he really threw a perfect ball. And he's going to his throwing hand at the very least, but he's really running out of bounds and having to throw against his body just a little bit. So for him to unleash that ball and put it right where it needed to, that was a heck of a play by him, and at the most needed moment, because if that ball's incomplete and we have to punt back to him, then there's a lot more things that have to go right to get a win, stopping them, getting overtime, all that stuff. So, big time play, big time play. And for the plays that maybe Tommy didn't make in that game, I would say that one.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
Any roster updates?
Yeah, I think offensively, talked about that first. We'll get a declaration on the Cleveland situation as we go through the next couple of days. But I'd say that's fluid this week. It's not a situation where I'd say he's out as we stand here today. I think Sean's definitely making progress. He made the trip down there with us, with really the intent of continuing to move him along with us being on the road, having our training staff down there, all that. And, so I think there's a chance he'll be back this week. I know at the running back position, Lane is at minimum another week here to work through what he's working through. Defensively, Brody went out of that game. I think that's going to be touch and go here this week. It's nothing that's season ending or anything like that, but it's not like he's immediately bounced back at the same time. So we'll have to see on him. Danny's situation, he had a procedure done, but he'll be back. I don't think it'll be this week. I think that covers most of them. I know, Isaiah will continue to practice, and Jahari is continuing to take a step forward practice wise too, but their availability this week would be doubtful.
I guess looking ahead to Cal Poly, what have you seen from their quarterback?
Well, he's a guy I'm familiar with. He's out of Phoenix, and I went and saw him as a high school player, and that was the spring of his junior year, I suppose. was really impressed with him at that time. He got a bunch of Pac-12 traction at that time. Ultimately, we signed with Cal, and that's where Coach Baldwin was at the time. We didn't see Spencer last year. He was hurt when we played them. They're throwing for over 300 yards a game, and he's a big reason why. Very talented, and I think they're dangerous. You match what they're doing passing wise, and then you look at just our last game and what we gave up passing wise, and we gotta figure that out. I think measuring last week for them in the snow in Missoula is hard. That game got away from them pretty quickly, and that's credit to the home team there. But that's what happened, and it was snowy conditions most of the game. The previous week, I hung in there for a little bit against Davis, but Davis is playing really well right now, and that game got away from them. But then they've had games, Eastern was the week before, I believe, and that was right down to the wire. Mentioned the Northern Arizona game, that was a close game. So, they're dangerous. They're going back home. A team like this late in the season, when they haven't won a conference game, they get an opportunity to play a team that hasn't lost a conference game. That's a great opportunity for them, and we have to be prepared to withstand what they give us. I know that.
And I guess speaking of their offense, Danes Coleman, that's kind of your lead receiver. What kind of seeing from him?
Yeah, I think they got good skill guys. I think Coach Baldwin's a really good coach. Obviously, the success he had at Eastern, knows this league inside and out. It's a rebuilding project that he's undertaken at Cal Poly. A big, huge shift in offensive philosophy, and it takes time. I know, it probably can happen a little bit faster on the skill side than it can in the line of scrimmage, and I think that's kind of what you see right now. They have good skill, and they're coming, and they will, I believe, and front on both sides. So, we just can't let it happen Saturday. But I think they're making progress. They're making progress off the field with facilities, and I think it's just a matter of time before they get it going.
Finally, I guess, what do you see from their defense?
Well, I think statistically, they've struggled. I think it's a little bit of the same where, skill wise, I think they're a little bit ahead of just their front. I think they're sound though. They're sound. They, what I've watched, they play hard. We just got to be on our game. And I know typically what we've seen out of defenses is look different than how other people have been defended. And I think there's an opportunity for us to grow there. I think Northern Arizona played us differently than they played other people. I think Weber played us differently than they played other people. We pose a challenge with our quarterback run game that, I think it just has people defend us differently. So on the flip side, we have to do things better in the pass game. There were opportunities, especially down in the dome against Northern Arizona, to make them pay for how they were playing our run game. Weaver was a little bit different with the weather, I would say, but we have to be more balanced. And I think there was a real attempt to be balanced in that game. We didn't make those plays. The whole concept of 50-50 is you're supposed to get 50% of them. We didn't get anywhere close to that. And that's, it's something to work on. It's chalk that one up. We've made those plays before, and, that'll be the challenge to our guys, is we need to make them more so to move forward.
Every game this season, you've had a guy go for 100 yards or more on the ground. Any thoughts on that?
Well, we needed it. I just speaking about the balance in the passing game, I think, we want a diverse running game to start with. And I think our revolving door on who's been that guy that's got 200 yards has been a reflection of just how in this given week can we can we put up the numbers we need to on the ground? And, you know, that's our players' capabilities. It's our coach's game plan. It's our O-line, you know, you talk about all those things, you come back to the O-line is probably the biggest thing, just their consistency this year, their improvement. And, you know, then our coaches coming up with a game plan each week to really dress things up, make them look different while those O-linemen are blocking the same plays and you know, doing it at a high level. So, you know, we continue to find ways to make yards on the ground, and we'll need to continue to do that as we move through November.
You mentioned doing too many things or trying to do too much. Is there any examples, I guess, of that in that game?
Well, I think defensively, it's getting out of position here and there, overrunning some plays. I think it's more, that's maybe what I would speak to more than anything. You know, I don't know, offensively, did we have to go after the deep ball on all those throws? Maybe not. You know, I think it's probably, it's simply put, just those things. We overran our leverage more often in this game than we maybe had. We didn't get contained a couple times. Our quarterback, who we felt like if we could keep him bottled up, that would be a good thing for us. So those would be the general things I would talk about.
And the long plays, long pass plays, is that kind of a common thread between all those over the season, or is that individual sort of?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think each one of them are maybe their own thing. I know, not positioned well enough on a couple of them for sure. Technically stopping our feet on one for sure, not getting contained on the quarterbacks, then he gets out and he can get it downfield. I think it was whether any of our guys were conscious of thinking I need to do all of this in any one play. I just kind of happened that way on a couple of those in particular. You know, the screen they hit, that's a pretty good call. And you know, we're man coverage. We got one guy that can make it, and he overran it. So I don't know. I think all those big plays, our calls are good enough to minimize them. But then within that, you got to be able to stay disciplined and be in the right place and make it that much harder for the defense. So they're all a little bit different, but yeah, I think they're a function of just being a little off.
And then Brody, I think other than maybe that really special play, seemed like he was in good position the whole game, had a couple sags.
And that wasn't his play, and we were in a zone call.
Okay.
I mean, that zone should kill that. We were in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
You know, so Brody played excellent. You know, that he was right from that first play, he was hard to handle for them. You know, the sack he made on the fourth down, kind of in the middle of the field, was a tremendous play. So, you know, he's playing at a high level. Obviously nicked up a little bit now. We'll need to get him back when we can get him back. But other guys are going to have to step up. I think, you know, Kenny's continued to get more and more experience, and that will have to serve him well. You know, David Alston played more effectively, you know, in that game. Ben Seymour's been a rock. Now, Ben doesn't have the flash plays necessarily, but he's playing steady. I want to say Ben played 70 plays in that game. So he's playing real well. So we'll patch it together. But Brody, I know, going back to your question, he played really well in that game.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
You mentioned some of the ways that people are defending you. Is there something that NAU particularly was showing you just in terms of that made Tommy think he could take those deep shots? Or I guess, is that something that maybe people are trying him on to see if he can continue to do it at a high level?
Well, they played more man to man, and in press man in particular. So that creates on some of those calls, the go ball. And, I think there's a confidence in Tommy and our guys on the other end that we're going to make enough of those plays to have it make more than sense, I guess. And it just, it didn't. And it wasn't like, sometimes is that beating our head against the wall? I didn't necessarily see it that way. Now we pumped the brakes certainly in the second half. But he's capable, and I think we were capable of making a few of those. The inside, there's one inside fade to Willie that I think we go up 21-0 if we hit that, and we should hit it in our sleep. That wasn't even really a 50-50 deal, but he a little off on that one, but he was on a couple of them too. So, I think that's been a function of our offense. If teams are gonna plus us in the box and play us man to man, we have to be able to make that complicated for them, and it just didn't happen in that game.
I know you talked about Tommy's progression last week. How much responsibility are you putting on him just pre-snap and things like that?
I think a fair amount. I don't think anything that's bogging him down by any means. I think, run game wise, there's enough decisions there. I think certainly in the protection side of things, and then, reading the pass plays out. Yeah, he's doing I think he's continued to grow there. I don't think it's anything more. So, but he continues to grow. I know, we talked about it earlier. And like his intelligence kind of meeting his experience, we're still maybe not quite there. He's so smart, but you got to experience things to make it all really work together. And that's one more game where I know there'll be some things that he'll learn from. And also you look at the play he made at the end of the game. That's spectacular, and that's taken practice to the game. It's Taco, a true freshman, knowing exactly how to treat that situation. So, and then a couple of his runs, are amazing. His long touchdown run and then what he was able to accomplish on some short yardage. So, it's a mix for him. I think he continues to get better, but he's within all that, he is so competitive. We can do a lot of things with just that.
Yeah, for sure. I know that it's a completely different trip this week, but being that it's another new place, did you learn anything just broadly about going to a new place last week that maybe can help you this week?
Yeah, I think we've done okay. We try to keep the same routine, no matter where we're going, which direction we're going, which time zone we're going to. I know the difference in like going to NAU and playing in a dome for the first time in a couple years. I think there is some newness to that piece. I haven't been to Cal Poly, I think, since 2007. I know they've continued to upgrade their facilities. You have turf now. The weather looks like it's going to be solid, but it's a new environment. I know a lot of our guys have played there more so than had played at NAU. So, we'll go through our routine very similarly. We play at 5. We played in the evening before, so try not to make a big deal about any of those things. Go out and try to prepare ourselves the best we can to play as well as we can.
And I talked to a couple of your seniors, your 6th-year seniors, these last couple of weeks, and seems to be a pretty common sentiment among them that they really try to just soak in sort of these last moments. And they've had such unorthodox careers. These guys have been in college for forever, for 6 or 7 years. So what do you think of just sort of that perspective that they're taking? And, what do you think of just them kind of soaking it all in?
Well, we got a bunch of them. We got more, quite a few more than last year when you look at the 6-year piece. I think so much was made of the guys last year, that their last year was coming off of all that had happened in 20 and into 21. But these guys lived it the same way. They were vets kind of in their own right, heading into that 20 season and that year of 2020 with high expectations and all that happen. And what I appreciate about this group is, after we lost that game in January, their immediate resolve to flip the switch and continue to build this program and be a part of that was evident right from the start. I mean, I'm talking in the locker room down in Frisco. So, I think they really truly appreciate playing college football. I think they really enjoy and want to make an impact here at Montana State. So that whole piece, when you love playing football and the place you're playing at, you love, I think that's what this group really has. We might have some guys that get some chances in the NFL. I don't know, but there's nothing certain there. So these guys are, soaking it up, to your point, and making the most of every opportunity they have here at Montana State, playing college football and doing it together. I think there's maybe strength in numbers as far as that goes. So really a special group that doesn't maybe get the credit that the last year's group did, and they were a big part of that too. So to continue to bring it forward, I've been really pleased with that.
Well, I'm doing a bunch of different senior stuff, but the one guy I'll ask you about this week is Jory Choate, because such an interesting scenario for him, a guy that kind of had to earn it coming out of high school, but then also the unique situation with his dad being the coach, but now he stuck it out, and here he is, a fifth-year guy. So what have you thought of just his ability to sort of endure and get to the end here?
Yeah, I think back to first conversation with Jory back in February of 21, and I think he was really excited to keep moving forward with his opportunity at Montana State. Happy for his dad to get that new opportunity. I think just continuing on as Jory was important to him. And I think the season he's had is very unheralded, but he's on all our special teams and has done a great job, has been very consistent. Last year he was kind of in and out of his role on special teams, but kept working really hard physically to put himself in a position that he's now in, to be a key contributor. He's amongst our top two probably in total reps on special teams in the course of the season, and he's been as steady as anyone, and that goes unnoticed, the things he's doing. And I know I really appreciate it, and I know he's a favorite amongst his teammates, just because of how he goes about his business. When he got put on scholarship this fall, that was a big deal for his teammates. Obviously it was for Jory, but a big deal for his teammates, because I know they recognize the work he's put in. I'm sure the ups and downs, even before I got here. So appreciate all how he's done, and the impact that he's had.
Thanks, Coach.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.